In this lesson, we're going to continue breaking down our code for our assault rifle behavior. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue on with the function fire. And we're basically checking to see if we can actually fire this weapon. Okay, so if bullets is equal to 0, return. So what this is saying is if these are at 0, it's going to return, and it's going to keep returning as long as the bullets left equals 0. So it's not going to be able to move on past this. Okay, it's not going to be able to go ahead and do fire one shot. Okay, now we're also regulating the fire rate to actual time right here. So whenever we hit the fire button, it's going to call out a message, and it's going to say fire. Okay, it's going to go to this right here. Now, if you'll remember, in a couple of lessons ago, we talked about the player weapons, and we talked about broadcasting that message fire. So whenever we hit a button on our game, it's going to go ahead and say, all right, I'm firing, and then our assault rifle is going to hear that and say, oh, I've got a function called fire. I'm going to go ahead and do this. And it's going to check to see if those bullets are left, and if they are, it's going to go ahead and move on down. Okay. Now, it's going to check. It's going to go ahead and regulate that firing and tell it how to fire, how fast to fire, okay, based on our fire rate. Now, it's going to keep firing as long as we've used up that fire time. So if we're still hitting the button, it's going to go ahead and utilize that. Now, if we're still hitting the fire button, it's going to go ahead and move on and tell the weapon how to actually shoot. This is telling it if it can shoot, and the fire one shot, which is right here, and goes down to this function, tells how to shoot. Okay? So, telling it how to shoot, we need to basically cast a ray out in front of our player, out in front of our weapon. So, what we're doing is a ray is kind of like a laser, if you want to think of it that way. So, we need to give that ray a direction in which to fire. Obviously, whenever you're shooting a gun, you want to point it away from you. You want to point it forward. So that's what we're looking for here. And then we have another variable called hit. And hit is actually going to reference a function called rayCastHit. And this is basically checking if our ray has collided with anything. Okay? Now, if we want to check to see if we've hit anything, it's going to go ahead and do a physics raycast, and it's checking our position to see if it's forward and our direction if it's forward. And then it's going to check to see if it's actually hit anything. Okay, so it's going to reference that. And then it's going to say, all right, if we've hit something and it's within our range, we can go ahead and do this. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and apply the force to a rigid body that we've shot. So if we shoot something and it's a rigid body, it's going to go ahead and apply that force variable and in our direction. And it's going to basically place a pivot point at the point that we've actually hit. So to explain this a little bit easier, if you're going to shoot a box in the top left corner, it's going to go ahead and spin around the point where you shot on the top left corner. It's going to spin differently than if you were to shoot that box right in the middle. The force is going to be applied a little bit differently. So that's what this is doing here. Okay? Now, once we've actually shot something, we've hit a surface, and we've applied that rigid body, we need to go ahead and actually apply our particle system to tell us that we've actually hit this surface. So what this if statement is doing is it's saying if we've hit particles, go ahead and create new particles. So instantiate, what this means is it's going to say, all right, I need to take the particles that are tied to this game object. So this is where this comes in handy up here. Remember we said get component in children, particle emitter, the hit particles. It's actually getting the sparks that we're going to put on our game object, and it's coming down here and it's going to instance those particles. Okay? So here's the instance of the particles, and it's going to go ahead and spawn those at the point that we've hit with our ray and shot it, And then here we see a little bit of code that's a little confusing, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. Now, what this is going to do is actually rotate the particle emitter to where it's facing us, to where it's facing outside the model. Okay, without this, what would happen is it would go ahead and hit that surface and then emit that particle system to where it looks like it's shooting the sparks inside the model. Okay, so we want it to shoot the sparks outside the model. So that's what this bit of code is doing. Okay, so it's rotating the particle emitter to the actual normal direction of the surface. Okay. We have hit particles dot transform position equals hit dot point. So basically what we're doing here is we're telling it you need to spawn the particles at the surface at the point that we've hit. Here's our rotation here to actually tell it how to rotate. And then we've got these hit particles dot emit. This is actually telling it, go ahead, once this has happened, emit particles. Now, our new particles, once they've been spawned, they need to go ahead and die. We don't want them to play forever. We don't want them to stay in our game's memory, so we want them to destruct and destroy themselves. Okay? Now, after we've done all of that, we need to actually tell it to send the apply damage message. So here we're saying if you hit the collider, send the message upwards, apply damage. So this bit of code right here is saying, is yelling out, apply the damage. So the next part is saying, okay, what damage do I apply? How much damage do I apply? Well, because we have this damage variable up here at the top, it's going to know, oh, 10. Okay? So it's going to apply that to any object that we've hit, as long as it has this apply damage function attached to it. Okay? So we would have this like on our ticks. Okay? Now after that, it's going to go ahead and do bullets left minus minus. And that basically means it's going to take our bullets left down by 1. Okay? It's going to subtract 1. Now we need to go ahead and tell the late update function that we shot and that it can go ahead and enable the muzzle flash and audio to it. So this is where we're enabling that and allowing the late update function to run. Okay. Now we need to reload automatically if the clip is empty. Okay, so if the bullets left is equal to 0, go ahead and reload. Now once it goes ahead and reloads, it's going to jump down to this function and it's going to actually tell it how to reload. So in our reload function, we want it to go ahead and wait for the reload time. Now, what was the reload time? Okay, well here's the variable. So let's go back up to the top and it's going to check. Reload time, 0.5 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wait that long and then I'm going to go ahead and check to see if we have any clips after that. So if the clips is greater than 0, it's going to go ahead and take one clip away and then replenish our ammo. So it's going to take our bullets left and make that equal to bullets per clip. Okay. And then lastly, we have the get bullets left function. And this is just in case we need to check how many bullets to reload if we have total ammo count. So if I have multiple shotguns, multiple types of shotguns, I may want all of my shotgun ammo to be able to be used in any one of those. So this is just set up there initially, but it isn't actually being used just yet. So, all right, so that is the assault rifle script there, and we've explained in great detail what each part is. And what we want to do is go ahead and save this out, and we need to apply it in our game. We need to go ahead and place it on our assault rifle object. Okay. Now it's looking like there's an error on this. So let's go ahead and double click on this and let's go to our mono develop and let's figure out what's going on here. And it looks like something got changed here, and I actually did this on accident. I pasted in this damage and didn't mean to do that. So Let's save this. Now let's go back and let's try one more. And I've pasted in damage. I want you to know it's probably a good thing that this is happening. I work in 3D software all the time, and I like to activate viewports by middle clicking. So if you copied something and you middle click, it's going to go ahead and paste it in there. So if you have something selected and you middle click, notice how that's copied that there. So be careful of that. Make sure I have my curly bracket back in there. So let's hit save, go to Unity, and I've done this several times. Very sorry about this. So it looks like damage is in there. Let's hit save. This is a good debugging session. And there's reload time. And I'm sure there's one more. Yep. So beware the middle mouse button click whenever working with your script here. Alright, so here's Unity. Now we've got no errors on our script. And we've already gone ahead and we've applied this assault rifle to our assault rifle game object. So just click and drag that onto your assault rifle game object, and you'll see all your values here. And then we need to go ahead and put our player weapons script on our weapons game object. Okay. So now let's go ahead and test this out. Let's hit play. And let's go ahead and press on our touchpad here. And we should be able to go ahead and see some sparks flying here. Give us just a second. And you know what? The reason we're not actually seeing any sparks is because we don't actually have any sparks in our scene. So this is going to be really, really important here. So let's go ahead and hit play. And let's go ahead and bring in some particles. So we're going to right click, import package. Let me try this up here so that way you can actually see what I'm doing. Let's do import package and particles. We'll hit import. And let's go to the standard assets folder, particles, and we'll go to miscellaneous, and we have sparks. Now, remember, we were talking about that code that's going to check to see if there have been any particle emitters parented to our game object. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to click and drag these sparks and put them on this machine gun done here. So this has now been parented to this game, or to this weapon here. So now if we hit play, and we go ahead and fire, you can see that sparks are now emitting. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and hit play on this to end that. And that ends our assault rifle functionality. So what we're going to do in our next lesson is we're going to go ahead and continue off of this assault rifle script and create our shotgun. So we'll do that in our next lesson.